Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. Tonight on the show we are going to continue with the faction, the pirate faction or the mercenary factions, because we don't have many pirate factions left. We're going to continue with the ship tree reviews, and we're going to touch on the ships themselves, the skills associated, preferred weaponry, tank, skills and roles. So, we've done most of the stuff here. We're gonna leave Yang Jung for last, because that's a new addition to this whole context of factions. We're gonna touch on the left side of the screen right now. We've done the main factions, we've done the Sunshine, Garistas, Serpentis and Angel, and today we are going to take a look at the Blood Raider Covenant, and which is a pirate faction, and the Modus Legion, which is not actually a pirate faction, it's more like a mercenary faction present in the game. According to the story, they're not actually pirates, because Modus Legion is somehow a mercenary guild that splintered off of the Kaldari state. So let's get on with our subject for today. Before that, please leave a like and a subscribe if you like what we're doing here on the channel, and remember, if you wish to support me through various donations, there's a YouTube channel membership. You can donate as a sum as small as $2. There's a link in the description, and there's also a join button right below this video. So, Blood Raider Covenant. Now, the Blood Raider Covenant has a deep backstory, but we won't be touching on that, because that's something for a different video. We're gonna touch on the ships that the Blood Raider Covenant has for us Capsuleers to use. So right off the bat, we have the frigate, which is the first ship of the line. It's called the Cruor, and actually, the most Blood Raider ships, actually all three, focus on energy vampires and energy neutralization. What that means, they specialize in turning off the lights on your ship. You heard that correctly. Roll bonus: 100% energy Nosferatu overload penalty. The overload is still something that I have to discover what it exactly does, but if I'm not mistaken, it negates the effect of energy Nosferatus. In short, you cannot siphon, because that's what energy Nosferatu does. It siphons capacitor from the targeted ship to your own. So it has a drawback, so you cannot siphon something from cap from a ship that has less cap than your ship. I have no idea if this trait has made it into the game. This was an unwritten rule of EVE Online, I think, and I think that's what the energy Nosferatu overload penalty means. But feel free to correct me. I'll also study on some more wikis and stuff, but this is my first impressions on the ship. So, overload penalty, I believe that it refers to not having that drawback, meaning you can siphon energy even though your capacitor is bigger, percentage is bigger than the targeted enemy ship. Advanced Electronic Warfare bonus per level, you get 15% energy Nosferatu efficiency, meaning you drain more capacitor, and 15% energy neutralizer strength, meaning you destroy more capacitor. The energy neutralizer does exactly that. It does not siphon. You take out some of your own capacitor, like how much it requires for the module to activate for a cycle, and you destroy the capacitor on the targeted enemy ship. It gets removed. No one gets it. It becomes one with the universe. And we get 20% stasis webfire optimal range. Additionally, per advanced frigate command bonus level, you get 20% small laser damage and 7.5% small laser tracking speed. Now, the Blood Raider ships are a combination between Ammar. Actually, they broke off from Ammar, and I don't think they require. They don't have any additional ramifications. So they splintered off the Ammar. The Ammar is a very religious group, a very religious group of people. I could call them that. It's an empire, come on. Now, these are fanatics. The Blood Raiders are fanatics. They are occultists, as you might want to call them. They have some weird, dark rituals. You could call them, I don't know, in bed with the devil, because they have all sorts of blood rituals. There's some chronicles on that. Maybe we'll have some time to touch on it, but some other time. So, as I mentioned, even though this faction broke off from the Ammar main tree, as you can see, the ships themselves don't have that minus reduction, actually, the reduction in capacitor consumption per laser weapons. So it's good to know. But they actually don't, come to think of it, they actually don't need it, because they can drain enough cap from the enemy targeted ship that they just don't need reduction in capacity usage for lasers. Just realize it, sorry. This is the crew. The details on the ship are amazing. It's got a very nice camo, and it looks like a small shark, like a small piranha. Yeah, it does resemble a piranha. Okay, going onwards with the cruiser-sized vessel from the Blood Raiders. It is called the Ashimu. Now, the Ashimu really resembles like a shark. Let's take a quick look at it. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So let's get over to the bonuses and see how it does. The Ashimu has 100% energy Nosferatu overload penalty, minus 100%, sorry, as a roll bonus, and 15% energy Nosferatu efficiency, 15% energy neutralizer strength, and 20% stasis webfire optimal range per advanced electronic warfare level. Now, the bonuses are pretty much the same over all the ships. The only difference is in the laser damage, 10%, 7.5 medium laser tracking speed. I think these are the same, just as on the crew. No, this has 20% small laser damage. Forgot to mention the crew has decent fittings, 333. Now, compared to the cruiser, it has 5 high slots, 4 med slots, and 4 low slots, and the damage bonus is considerably lower, mainly because of multiple gun hard points. So you can fit 5 lasers on this baby, plus 1 additional drone. Yeah, I forgot to mention the preferred tank for these ships is armor. So if you want to fly one of these and you want to fit it best, armor is the main tank. So you want to buff up the armor or use resistances or reppers or whatever. Actually, you can fit multiple reppers if you want. Yeah, you can go crazy. Who am I to judge? You won't run out of cap, so you can constantly cycle those while siphoning cap. You're gonna be stable every time. There's no... Of course, if you don't have any targets and all your targets are out of range, then yeah, you're probably in deep shit. But your cap's stable because you have... all your cap is incoming from the enemy ship. So, as preferred weaponry, it's lasers, and... I'm not entirely sure what this means right here. I think it wants to say drones, but there's just one drone here. Maybe the icon in the first icon in the lower bar. So I think it's drones, armor, and lasers. That's pretty obvious, but I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure what the drones are for, because it's not. Focus has no bonus on drones. Neither of these ships. Moving on to the battleship of the Blood Raiders, it's called the Balgorn. You can read the description of the ship. It's pretty interesting, has some backstory, and you kind of want to understand. If you want to go into the lore, you can get some ideas out of the description why they named it this way and why it is so feared. Again, the bonuses continue: 100% energy Nosferatu, penalty overload, 15% efficiency on neutralizer and not Nosferatu efficiency and strength, and stasis Wi-Fi optimal range, and 15% large laser damage. Now the bonus here is a bit higher, and 7.5% large laser tracking speed. I'm guessing the developers and the design team actually did some DPS graphs to see how these ships compare to the counterparts of the standard faction, just to get them a bit higher, make them better, because they're going to be pretty expensive and specialized ships, so they should be above everything else in terms of standard Empire stuff. But I'm guessing that the damage modifiers, as in the bonuses, they're balanced across all the other factions, or considering the high slots and stuff. So we've got 7 high slots, 5 meds, and 5 low slots, and 2 drone slots. You can fit 7 lasers. Tank is pretty decent at 5, but compared to other factions we've seen, I think 6 low slots on the battleship. It's acceptable. It's acceptable. But I don't think that the Balgorn is at the level of its EVE Online counterpart. For this, I'm a bit worried, but I have no idea if I'll ever be able to fly this ship, so all I can do is speculate, but based on what I see, I don't know. Maybe if somebody will be able to fly this soon, we'll get some DPS graphs and some tank screenshots. Someone will get it eventually, don't worry. That's it on the Blood Raider Covenant. Again mentioning, Blood Raiders focus on destroying the targeted enemy ship's capacitor. Moving onwards. Oops, I closed the ship tree, sorry about that. I'm still failing to click on the correct button here. We're going to move on to the Modus Legion. Now, the Modus Legion, as I mentioned, it's a splinter group from the Caldari, but it's not a pirate faction, it's a mercenary. The leader of the Modus Legion, if I'm not mistaken, was actually a Caldari general. I'll have to review my knowledge of the lore pretty soon. And what he basically did is he agreed that he also carries over a militaristic dogma, just like the Caldari state itself. But the splinter was caused by the fact that he didn't like the way things got in the Caldari state, politically speaking. So he just, you know what, I'm just gonna move along and do my things, and you guys do your own things, and if you need me, I'll be here, and you can pay me some money, and I come to help you. That's pretty much a short story about the Modus Legion. The Modus Legion has focus on disrupting the enemy warp cores. The Modus Legion have bonuses to warp jamming through various means, and we'll see that quickly. Now, as in terms of preferred weaponry, missiles, just like the Caldari, it's pretty standard, and shield is the main tank. So if you want to fly one of these ships, do fit shield tank on it. Carrying over to the first ship of the Modus Legion, it's the frigate-sized class Garmur ship. It has minus 50% missile torpedo flight time. What that means is, if the standard missile, for example, has, let's say, 6 seconds flight time, so it will explode by itself if it exceeds 6 seconds in space. This one has just 3. So if you any missile that you click aim for on and you check the flight time, when you fit it on this ship, the flight time will get halved. It'll get cut in half. 50%. But why? Well, the answer to that is the second bonus. The roll bonus is plus 200% missile torpedo velocity, meaning it'll go an additional 200% faster than what it normally says in on the item info. So for example, if a missile goes like 30 meters per second, you add 200%, and what that means, what did I say again, 3 meters per second, okay, 3 meters per second, add 200%, and you will get 9 meters per second. Now, if you do the calculations, the math is pretty simple. So the range of your missiles or torpedoes is calculated by the flight time multiplied by the torpedo velocity. So it gives you the maximum range at which a missile can go before it goes boom. The correct calculation points you to the fact that even with the minus 50% missile torpedo flight time, you still get a very much bigger range because of the 200% velocity. So if you put this into calculation, you will get a bigger range, and additionally, because the torpedo velocity is increased, the torpedo the time the missile takes for it to reach the enemy is much faster. If the torpedo or missile velocity is slower, then when you shoot, missile damage is not instant, by the way. So when you shoot, if the enemy warps away, the damage will not be applied. This helps with that, because once you fire, it takes very little time for the missile to hit the target. And what it does is almost creates the illusion of instant damage, so it's a bonus to that. +1 warp scrambler strength, so these ships by default have bonuses just like interceptors have. So you get a warp scramble strength bonus, meaning if you have like a warp disruptor and you get a 1 disrupt point, fitting it on this ship and activating, you will get the 1 plus the additional 1, meaning 2. So it helps. It helps not fitting 2 warp disruptors if you want to catch stuff. Remember our previous videos, we talked about the warp disruptor or the warp jammers themselves and the warp core stabilizers and how warp mechanics work. 20% small missile torpedo damage and 5% small missile torpedo explosion velocity. Explosion velocity is the speed of the explosion itself. Against fast targets, this is a bonus. Missiles suffer. The bigger the warhead and the smaller the enemy target is, the faster it is, the harder it is for the missile to do full damage. Imagine yourself, there's a bomb going to explode behind you, but your speed is sufficient enough to get outside the blast radius. So missiles can do poor damage against fast ships. This bonus helps exactly with that, and you're able to do almost with full skills, almost 100%, or not entirely 100%, but good damage nonetheless against fast moving targets. 10% warp scrambler optimal range and 10% warp disruptor optimal range. Again, the scramblers are not in game yet, so this bonus is pretty poopy. But we do have the warp disruptor optimal range, so if you got like 24 kilometers, just and considering the skill you got for advanced frigate command, just multiply that with 10 and add the percentage to your warp disruptor range, and you will get the correct optimal range. Of course, you can skip just the entire math and just add the module on your ship and click info. Remember, if you inspect an item outside of your ship, like it's not fitted, you will get its default bonuses or default values. If you fit it, all the values will get recalculated based on your skills and your ship's bonuses, so you'll get the updated stats for it. That's pretty much it on the Garmur. It's a very, very slick, looks like a racer. Star Wars much, but it's great nonetheless. It's amazing, and the speed, oh boy, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with it, including kiting. Yep, this is a kiter, because you have disruption range, you have a very good range with missiles, so it's a kiter. Moving on to the cruiser size, the Orthrus. The Orthrus, the standard bonuses carry over. The roll bonus is the same: 50% small torpedo, minus 50% missile torpedo flight time, and 200% missile torpedo velocity, and warp scramble strength. Now, in terms of damage, we get 5% medium missile torpedo damage and 5% medium missile torpedo explosion velocity. These bonuses, and with the scrambler and disrupt optimal range, are pretty much the same. The only difference is the 5% in medium missile torpedo damage, as opposed to the 10%, if I'm not 20%, no, 20%, as opposed to the Garmur. But considering this one has six high slots, we just looked at the Ashimu, which has 5. This one has 6. So probably the reduced bonus makes sense. Because you already have enough guns. The hell you want more? 1 drone, 6 high slots, 4 meds, 4 lows. These ships are pretty much nano or speed tanking most of the times, so these ships are not intended for stationary use. These are harassment ships. The Modus Legion can be called kiting and harassment ships, because they can harass you to the point that you want to quit the game. If a fleet of these, not necessarily a fleet, just a couple of guys flying these, come into your system and they catch you unprepared, you better dock up, because you're not getting out of there alive. So unless you have like a fleet that's gonna just try to get them. The problem is, any tackler, any scepter, any fast-moving ship that will try to tackle them and pin them, they'll probably get destroyed in 1 salvo or 2 salvos, because of the because of the explosion velocity bonuses. So they have good damage, strong damage against small, fast-moving targets. Forgot to take a look at this beauty. Look at this. Look at this. It's nice. It's very nice. It's got a sleek design. Looks like a boat, but it's not actually a boat. It looks like I'm gonna be a bit hateful here. It looks like a pancake. The Garmur looks a bit more nicer, but we're going into the big pancake area, because we're gonna touch on the battleship of the Modus Legion, the Barghest. The Barghest, the same exact bonus is 50% minus on torpedo flight time and 200% torpedo velocity and warp scramble strength +1. The bonuses for damage plus 10% in large missile torpedo damage and 5% large missile torpedo explosion velocity, 10% on the warp scramble optimal range and warp disruptor optimal range. 8 high slots for 8 launches, 2 drones, 5 med slots, 5 low slots. This is the flying pancake, ladies and gentlemen. This is the most weird looking ship out of the entire EVE universe. I think, no. It can come on par with the Nightmare from the Sancha's Nation. That looks a bit like a squeezed out poop. Yeah. And this is like a pancake. Now, the design is weird. It really feels weird, and it's probably gonna feel weird when you're flying it. Like, what? Do I have like the only thing needed here in the front of the ship is like some big katanas that if we had collision mechanics, you can cut through. You know, like in Elite Dangerous. I don't know if you've used Elite Dangerous, but you can fit in Elite Dangerous. You can fit in the front of your ship like some sorts of of slashing weapons, and you can just use ramming techniques. Unfortunately, there's no collision, or at least collision damage in this game. So, yeah, this is the flying pancake, but the things that it can do, insta-shot anything because of its bonuses. Even though it's going to be large missiles, the explosion velocity will help with that. Also has the drones, but you won't see this flying alone in space. Usually there's gonna be a fleet. This one is probably going to be like the command ship, not the command ship, but the flagship of the fleet. It's going to deal massive amounts of damage to the enemy fleet. If you got more of these, it's gonna be insane. Now, with every flagship, and that stands for all faction battleships because they are intended to be used as flagships. With the flagship comes the support fleets, so you'll have plenty of destroyers, frigates, cruisers, and all that to play as support. Keep this one alive while it decimates the enemy fleet, and those just gonna catch on some stray ships like the tacklers and make good riddance of the enemy logistics and so on. So that's pretty much it. These are the two factions that I presented today. Thank you guys for watching. We will continue tomorrow with I don't know, let's see, Servants, Sisters of Eve. We could do that, and we could also touch on the ore, and then we can keep the interboss and Yanjung for later. Actually, we're gonna do the ore and interboss because they're industrial areas of ship trees, and we're gonna keep Servants of Sisters of Eve and Yanjung for last, just like the icing on a cake. Thank you guys for watching. A very, very big shout out to my channel supporters. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.